Right now is the most important time for indie creators to get out there and kick ass, make mainstream look indie and make people and wake people the fuck up. It's up to the new bloods. No, I agree. I agree. I want to do a fantasy book, but I don't have the right artist to work with yet. Yeah, I think any creator out there, if you're looking to do a book, the art is extremely important. Obviously, the story, yes, you want a good story, you want a good writer. But I think a lot of people they kind of forget the visual medium that comics are, and you forget that you need very quality art because artists are a dime a dozen. Um, Good artists are hard to find, right? You can go find an artist anywhere on any of the social media sites. You can probably find somebody, and just because they draw, and be like, okay, cool, I can make a book. The problem is that how professional do you want it to look? You can have any art on a book and think that the book is great and think that the art is okay. But the audience might look at that and be like, the art doesn't pass the eye test. There was times when I was younger, I remember picking up indie comics in the store or going to a convention and seeing an indie comic on somebody's table or whatever. And a lot of times I would judge it by the art. I'd be like, okay, character kind of seems cool. Maybe you got a good cover artist. And I pick up the book and I flip through it and I'm like, this art is just it's bad. The colors are bad. The storytelling is not good comparable to what is on the shelf. And so if you're going to make a book, depending on whatever genre you're going for, you want to try to figure out what is on the shelf that's good. And granted, today that's hit or miss. Back in the day, it was like you get top-notch artists all the time in these big companies. Today, it's hit or miss for some of the art that they do in the mainstream or even in Image or some of the big indie books that are on the shelves. But find an artist that's comparable to that. Pay them what they're worth. I've had this conversation with other people before when they've talked about it. I'm like, pay a good artist what they're worth, and you're going to get the return. And then promote it. Promote it the best you can. Don't sit around and just think that you're going to put out a good looking book and people are going to back it. Get out there and promote it. Be on shows, create your own show, do whatever you can to get the word out there because that's, it takes a lot. Crowdfunding isn't easy, and it shouldn't be easy. It should be something you have to work pretty hard for. So, uh, Duck Bacon still number 2. The MSK got to number 3. All right, Mo Biggs, I still don't see you listed. That's just crazy. I'm gonna get offended now. I'm holding back on releasing AR-15 orangutan for as long as I can. I'm gonna have some money for everyone else. Yeah, good times. Yeah, crowdfunding. It's an interesting thing. But I've said Reaper Destroyer. You guys know me. I created a book or a character called Reaper Destroyer. Launched it a couple years ago. It took longer than I thought it was going to take to get out. And there's not an exact science, I think, to crowdfunding unless you've done it. You're a veteran of it, and you see these guys that are veterans of it. They can turn things around, and if you should really pay attention to what they are doing and try to figure it out because there's a lot of things that you run into that you don't know about until you get in there. You stub your toes, you trip, you fall. A lot of things I got into that I was like, second time around is going to be a lot different. I learned a lot, when it comes to creating comics. It's not easy. Not everybody can do it. That's just the facts of it. It's anybody can try to do it for sure, but not everybody can do it and do it well. Most of the reviews I got on my book have been, I'd say 90% positive with a lot of stuff. There's been some pretty valid criticism when it comes to certain things, and some really helpful criticism as well. So first timers, we're going to go through what we go through. And I think it's good to listen to what people say about your books. Even if you don't agree with it, it's good to just think about it for a second because nobody likes criticism, right? That's your baby, that's your hard work you're putting out there. And it always hurts if somebody doesn't see it the way you saw it or think it's as great as you think it is. There's always that tendency to kind of get defensive or whatnot. I get it. I feel it. I understand it. But in the end, if you're getting valid criticism from somebody that's really honestly looking to say like, hey, you can do this better and here's how to do it, or, give some kind of direction, that's great to listen to. And then it's up to you if you want to implement that into your books or not. If you want to get the best you can, take criticism as best as you can. If you think that judge the criticism, I guess you could say. Judge it what it is, but there are legitimate stuff out there that people are going to tell you. A lot of stuff I listen to are from the backers themselves. There have been some great breakdowns by people that have read the book that I have really loved their insight on the book. I thought, what they felt, what they took out of it was exactly what I was trying to put out there. And I also understood and was happy that I was keeping them guessing because hearing them theorize about certain things, I'm like, great, that's awesome. They're going in these directions. I'm going over here. This is going to be really good for future storytelling. I've talked to a few editors that have read the book, giving me feedback on certain things I'm gonna, take going forward and try to continue getting better. When you're a first time creator like me, I mean, that's the biggest thing is knowing that you're not going to hit the ground with the first book and be, the best book anybody's ever read or the best paced book or the best written book or the best art. Try to put the best thing you can out there. And then eventually you're supposed to grow each book. And that's what crowdfunding, allows you to do is have the ability to grow